So today's verse is verse 45 and 46 in chapter 13 of Matthew. And it probably identifies one of our most crippling, destructive beliefs about ourselves and should reveal to us the truth of what God thinks about us. So I'm going to read it to you, and here it goes. It says, again, verse 45, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant seeking fine pearls. Upon finding one pearl of great value, he went and sold all that he had and bought it. So let me put that into 21st century Orvillian language. The king of heaven is like a merchant seeking fine pearls. The king of heaven is seeking you. And when he finds you, he goes and gives up everything to have you. The most common affliction amongst us, and I wish that just being here, hearing me and responding to what I say would change that, but there is no guarantee. It's what we fight every day. People go back to the hog pens of life. They go back like a dog to his vomit. I'm sorry I have to use that. It's biblical. They go back because they cannot get that the King of heaven, Jesus Christ, the King above all kings, the Lord over heaven and all of the earth, sees you as a costly fine pearl. And he's willing to die for you, to live for you. You know, the way he does things generally isn't how I would do things. To plan a day for my incredibly painful destruction is not something I have spent much time doing. I've thought, would I be willing to do it? Would I be able to do it? I don't know. He did it. He decided to do it on his own. If it happened to me, it would be inflicted upon me by others. But he did this. You want to know what the Father heart of God is? Is that the King of heaven gives up everything to possess us. He's out looking. See, everybody thinks it's the pearl of great price. That is what the kingdom of heaven is like, a pearl of great price. It's not. This parable is the King of heaven, the kingdom of heaven, is like a merchant seeking you because he thinks you're a fine pearl. And he's willing to give up everything to possess you. And that's all that means. It's about the simplest communication that God could have given us. Is I love you so much. I want you so much that I will plan a day that I will come and suffer incredible violence, shed large amounts of blood, and feel great amounts of pain so that I might possess you, so that I might have you. And what does he do with us once he has us? He said things like, know the truth and be free. Oh my gosh, don't do that to me. Or, yes, I want it. Which is it? He says stuff like loving yourself and loving your neighbor and loving one another and laying down your life for each other and giving all that you have to possess him. We just talked about that last week. It's a two-way relationship. God wants a bunch of slaves. Let's go. That isn't how it is. It's a two-way relationship. He wants to possess you. He wants you to possess him. We just talked last week about the buried treasure. The kingdom of heaven is like a buried treasure that you, when you found it, gave up everything to possess it. And he follows it with the words, he is like someone seeking a treasure that when he found it, gave up everything to possess it. That's what he thinks of you. He wants you to possess him, and he wants to possess you. That's what he wants. How could you possibly hate yourself? How could we possibly not value ourselves? God wants you to possess him. Oh, not like possessing a car so that you can get across town easier or get where you want to go easier or help me, bless me, Lord, bless me, Lord, bless me, Lord. That's not what it's all about. Just by itself, the fact that God possesses me should be blessing enough. It isn't just truth and being set free, it's life and life abundantly. Right. I don't care how you look at life and life abundantly. That's got to be a good thing, doesn't it? I mean, wouldn't you like to have life abundantly even if I didn't tell you all the details? Some of the details are a little hard. You'll go through trouble, but you'll enjoy it. You'll go through trouble, but you'll have joy in it, peace in it, patience. Oh, I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. Oh, but it's still called life abundantly because a lot of people go through trouble and don't have this. And that's pretty woe is me stuff. That's right. Are you following me? Yes. You want to know who God is? You want to know what he thinks of you? You want to know what his heart is towards you? There's these 3 stories in a row. Nobody likes to tell these 3 stories in a row. They like to tell them. Jesus told them in a row. Trust me, you read them. When I tell you about them, you'll know what I'm talking about. He told them in a row. But everybody preaches one or the other, and most people on earth today preach just one of them. And it's called the prodigal son. The prodigal son is a story about a kid who wanted his inheritance. He didn't want to wait till his dad died. He wanted his money because he wanted to go out and have fun. Living in his dad's house wasn't fun, I guess. It wasn't, there was too much responsibility. I don't know, but he went out and it says he squandered it. And he ended up in a hog pen. And thus my reference to the hog pens of life. People who return to the hog pens of life over and over and over. And so the prodigal son is a story of a young man who chose to leave the father's house. The next story is a coin. And the story is that the coin was lost, and the owner of the coin was unaware how she lost it. Didn't know where it was. So I say that is lost inadvertently by the carelessness of its owner. So far we have someone who's lost by choice. We have someone who's lost by carelessness. Could be that you own your life and you're careless with it, and you got yourself lost. Someone else was careless with your life and got you lost. Or you just wanted to go run and see what it's like. And you ran and saw what it's like. Found yourself eating pig food. Didn't like it. Found yourself lost. In that story, the father figure is actually a woman, and she sweeps the house and searches the house and can't find the coin. Calls her friends. Come help me find my coin. And when they find it, they rejoice and have a party. Prodigal son is, they have a ring and a fatted calf and a barbecue and a robe of righteousness. And it's a declaration of my son is alive. And the coin is, come and rejoice with me. For I have found that which was lost. And the third story is a sheep. All the sheep were just eating. And one of them just, good grass, good grass, good grass. Oh. Ends up, where did the sheep go? You like that? Somebody likes that. I don't know about you, but I've been cut out of the herd a couple of times that way. Where'd everybody else go? Hey, follow me. Where'd they go? I'm all alone. And anyway, this is a sheep that wanders off and inadvertently gets lost just because it took its eye off the herd, off the, flock. Yeah, they're not herds, are they? Took their eye off the flock and they got lost. And he tells the story of the good shepherd that leaves the 99 and goes looking for the one that got lost, wasn't trying to get lost. Just kind of like saw a shiny bauble and the moth to the flame. It's so beautiful. Huh? Macy's and bought funny shoes. Blingy shoes. Blingy shoes. Boy, I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, you follow what I'm saying? So there's 3 stories. One chose to be lost. One was lost by the carelessness of others. And one was lost because they didn't pay attention. And this is not stories of sheep and coins and rebellious kids. It's a story of a father who waited for the return of his son, who felt all along, my son is dead, and rejoiced when his son remembered what was taught to him and came home to be alive. I hear people say all kinds of things about these stories, and I'm always saying, where was that in the story? The story is that the father was watching the horizon, waiting for you to return, or searching for you because you got lost because people that should have loved you didn't love you. People that should have taught you didn't teach you. People that should have showed you the way didn't show you the way. And he's out looking for you to tell you, I am the way, the truth, and the life. I'm the light on the lampstand. I am the beacon that shines your way, calls you home. I am the bread that sustains your life and the water that quenches your thirst forever. I am the one, the only. I am the straight and the narrow. And the light that shines in the darkness. Darkness will not overcome it. I am the one who goes after you when you wander away and wonder, how did I get back out here again? How did I get separated from the flock? How did I get broken off from the body? How did I get lost again? How did this happen? I was listening to someone I thought was right. Hey, there's grass over here. And there wasn't. And I got lost. And there's lions and tigers and bears out here. What am I going to do? And there comes my good shepherd looking for me. And this is the love of the Father, that he sent Jesus Christ to be the father that welcomes you home, to be the woman who searches for you, to be the shepherd that finds you, knows you're lost and cares about it enough to come and seek you. He's the merchant seeking fine pearls, who looks for you and looks for you. And when he gets your attention, when he finds you, when he gets you to see him, he goes and sells all that he has so that he might possess you. And he's the buried treasure, that if you'll seek him, you will find him. And if you will sell all that you own, you can possess him. He's the one sowing good seed in his field. And the enemy comes and sows bad seed. And he's the one that's going to, at the harvest, inspect the fruit and divide the wheat from the tares. He's the one who sows the seed, the King of heaven sowing the King of heaven into the world so that it grows up to be a mighty tree, that any and every bird of the air, if you are a bird of the air, you can make your nest and your home in him. Right. And he's the one that says, my Father and I, we will make our home in you. He lets you make a home in him, and he will make his home in you. It just goes on and on how simple the communication is in this book that says that I and the Father are one. If you've seen me, you've seen the Father. And this is the love of the Father, that he sent me to die on the cross. And I stood before the cross, he says, Father, if there's any other way to save them, to find them, to possess them, let's do that way. But if this cross is the only way, then let's have your will, not my will. Your way, not my way. And he submitted himself even to the cross so that he might possess me. The King of heaven is a merchant seeking fine pearls. He's seeking me. And he's selling everything. He gave up everything to possess me. And I'm seeking him. And I gave up everything to possess him. And when he possessed me and I possessed him, the King of heaven became leaven that was placed in me. And it has changed everything. Right. If you only knew me then, you would not recognize me. In fact, many people in this crowd have seen pictures of me from those days. And you say, that was you. And the truth is, okay, it was my body in that picture. But you don't know. You can't tell from a one-dimensional picture. That's not me. Vicki knew me. She can tell you. That's not me. That man would not have cared about you. This man deeply, completely cares, because the leaven of the King of Heaven has been placed in me until I was completely different. I am totally changed. I would have stole your money, not ever spent my money to save you. I would not have ever given up all that I had to rescue you, or to teach you, or to give you what he has. I would have taken your money to make me comfortable, to meet my needs. I'd have stole from you way more than money. And today I wouldn't lie to you or steal from you. But it is my passion in my life to tell you what he's like. He loves you with an unending love. He loves you with an extravagant love. He wants you to possess him. He wants to possess you. And he's the Father that will let you go destroy yourself. But wait there and watch for your return. And when you return, he will receive you and hold you and give you his ring and put his robe on you and kill the calf for you. And if you'll be faithful, the other part of that story, he will say this to you, my son, you have always been faithful, and all that I have is yours. This is the love of the Father. This is who he is. And Jesus is saying the King of Heaven is like. The kingdom of heaven is like. And he's telling you. I don't know where the story began to change, where you can believe in him the same way you believe in fairy tales, and you will receive the kingdom of heaven. Or you can give whatever you want, and you can have the kingdom of heaven. It's not what he says. The kingdom of heaven is something a man gives everything for. The King of Heaven gives everything for a man. And the King of Heaven gives the King of Heaven into the earth. He sows him into the earth so that the King of Heaven, Christianity, the belief in Jesus, would grow to be a mighty tree that the whole world, all the birds of the world, can come and make their nest in it. In other words, build their life in it. This tree of the King of Heaven being invested in the earth. As a person who reads this and actually believes, I have to tell you, I have found that the only position I am allowed to take as a believer is this, that I am owed nothing, that I deserve nothing. I owe everything to him. There's not a chance on earth I could have ever made it to the King of Heaven had he not been willing to seek me out, find me, and give everything to have me. It's the only chance I had. I'm so glad he said that, because that means that's what he did. He did that to possess me, and there just came a day where I gave him me. And he did not reject me. That's the most incredible thing I've ever said in my life. I would have rejected me. You would have rejected me. I would have rejected you. And did probably. Didn't want much to do with you. But he didn't reject me. And then when I saw who he was, I didn't reject him. And I stand before you to tell you the truth, that there is no other way. I wish I could tell you that whatever you believe is okay. He's just going to say, oh, that's what you believed? Okay. That isn't what it says. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure. Man gave up everything to possess it. And the one that did give up everything got to possess it. The kingdom of heaven is seeking fine pearls. And it gave everything to own it. And then it put the King of Heaven into it and changed everything. Jesus told him, behold, I make all things brand new. And I look around me and I think, he really does. Right. And then I pray, could you do something about me? Absolutely, son. if you'll let me. I remember that was the fight I had at the altar the night I came forward. I'm not changing. The guy praying with me was wise enough to say, but would you let him if he wanted to? Because he'd already read this. He wants to. And he knew if I would accept his will, he would want to change me. Right. And each day during that changing process, I had a choice, you know, and I really did. One day I was sitting there doing what I shouldn't do, and he said, you don't need that anymore. I'm enough for you. And I put that thing out. That's it. He was enough for me. Right. I have never needed any of that stuff because he's enough for me. Right. The King of Heaven sowed the King of Heaven into the world and became a mighty tree that even Steve Orsillo could make his life in. Right. And it's been an abundant life, just like he said. It's been a challenge, but it's had joy unspeakable and full of glory. It's had peace I can't even describe to you. It's had life abundantly. It's had truth, and I have been set free. It's crazy. Because I sought him, I found him. If I will seek him first, I'll get it all. Now that's a day-by-day struggle I fight with, whether I seek him first or not. But let me just tell you, when I've been successful at seeking him first, I have been like a man with everything. On days when I don't seek him first, it's usually what I put before him that I lose. That's what's really a trip. Hear him. Respond to him. Listen to him. When he says the King of Heaven is like, the kingdom of heaven is like, take it for granted he knows what he's talking about.